So welcome everyone. I'm just going to give a brief intro as to these sessions, and it's called the clarity sessions because at the onset when we're thinking about what we wanted to do to help millennials and the people in our audience, we wanted to be able to have conversations that would help them see clearly. And when we're thinking about doing this, we thought like, oh, it would be best to name it the clarity session. So in summary, the clarity session is a webinar series to help millennials get clarity that not only strengthens confidence, but also build capacity and equip people with the ability to go in pursuit of all their dreams. We've had sessions like goal setting, finances, people with multiple potentials, doing hard things, doing work that matters. And this is also going to be another exciting session where we're talking about maximizing your career. One of the key things we've noticed from our audience and the people that we speak to when we go for coaching is that we've realized that a lot of people in our generation and the people in generation below us, they have so many potentials, but they realize the importance of a career. They want to be able to do something for the long time, but it always gets to a point where it's frustrating. Either you're not making money enough, or you think you're not appreciated, or you think this is not the path you want to follow. And at some point, you get into several roadblocks that can be annoying, and you just begin to wonder, why am I on this career path? And I think it's important to have this conversation, especially because maximizing your career is a key thing. And we know that there's always a pressure for everybody now to be an entrepreneur. And it's always very bad when you think that, why am I working this job when I can be doing this? But there are people that have maximized their career, and it would be great to be able to understand how we can do that as well. We have a very important guest in our midst who is going to run us through the session. And I'm truly just excited to just listen and be able to hear what we have for today. Femi Akinyemi is a business consultant, a trainer with over 15 years experience helping multinationals in industries implement strategies to manage complex changes in the organization. His passion for coaching and training led him to set up Unleashed Academy, which delivers training to thousands of people across the world. And because of his passion to be able to also add value to people, he created a podcast network also called Unleashed on helping people fulfill their potential, and the intentional career, which provide weekly tips on how to maximize your careers. I've listened to some of the podcasts on with Femi Akinyemi and some of the guests on your show, and trust me, the tips you would get from those conversations has been very useful to me on how to build great, on how to use your network, how to build your network. And so Femi is coming with a vast knowledge that he has acquired over the years, helping multinationals grow and just helping people be able to see how they can maximize their career. And I'm excited to be able to listen to Femi share tips on how we can maximize our career. So at this juncture, I'm going to hand over to Femi to run us through what he has for us today. And I hope you enjoy this. Thank you. Over to you, Femi.
Thank you, Ife. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted, and I'm very, very pleased and honored actually for you guys to invite me. So super excited. Thank you so much. And great to see you doing the stuff you're doing. This is awesome. It always makes me happy when I see people, because you're doing kind of stuff I'm doing, seeing people helping other people unleash their potential and become their best. And it's always good because it kind of helps. It reminds me, and it's good because a lot of us are talented and we're gifted naturally. But the reality is, think about Lionel Messi, think about Beyonce, think about Justin Bieber, all the Kanye West, all the stars you know. They were gifted, they were talented, but they had a roadmap. They had a blueprint to become what they are today. And it's the same for you. It's the same for me. With all the talent, with all the ability, with all the potential you have, if you do not have a roadmap, if you do not have a blueprint, if you do not have a step-by-step guide to follow, you will not be able to maximize your career. Now, you may be lucky. You may be one of those few people who were born lucky and who were so gifted that you knew what to do yourself and you made it to the top of the mountain without making any mistakes, and you got it right first time. But you'll be one of the very few. Because for most of us, we are human. We are born with challenges and situations. We make mistakes, and we have to work our way through our mistakes. We have to We have to learn from people who've done it before, and we have to take all of this in and use that to maximize our talent, to fulfill our potential, and become the best we can be. And in doing that, earning what you truly deserve. And that's what I'm here to do today. I am here today to talk to you about some of the things I've learned in my own career. Now, I'm not that much old, but I've experienced some things that I hope can help you shape your own career, that can give you, as listeners and watchers of this session of the Clarity Sessions, of maximizing your career, just some things. Now, I'm going to keep it at a high level. I'm not going to dig deep because we've only got an hour, about 45 minutes together, so we've got to make it count. But I'm hoping you enjoy this session, and if after this you've got questions, you want to know more, please reach out to me. I'm listening on my podcast. I've got 2 which I'll speak about, or you can even reach out to me. I think my details are at the end, and I'm happy to speak to you. But without much further ado, I will share my screen. So if everybody can see my screen, all right, great. So if everyone can see my screen, I would like you to just maybe in the chat box, just type yes. So if you can see my screen in the chat box, type yes. Okay. So if Femi can see it, that's fine. Yes, it's fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I'll put the chat box to a side. So I've got a very quick question to ask everyone. In one word, describe your career to date. Just use one word. Describe your career to date. Let me bring on my chat box again, just so I can see what everyone says here. And let's make this interactive. Let's share what we think. In one word, describe your career today. Be honest, because one of the most important things about maximizing your career is being honest with yourself. Unscripted, fine. Transitioning, I like that. Great. Unscripted and transitioning. So Femi is kind of going with the universe. And someone else is transitioning. You're moving from one piece to another. Fantastic. Okay, let's take another question. What are the biggest challenges you face in your career? What are the biggest challenges you face in your career? I'm just making some notes here. I'll type mine just to encourage you. Okay. So I put mine. Fear I'll be my best. I was afraid to step into myself. I was afraid to speak up. I was afraid to show what I'm truly capable of, because you're thinking you might step on someone's toes, or what right do I have to be? Okay, someone else got one. Questioning if this is what I should be doing. That's a very, very deep one and so true. For a lot of us, we're doing stuff, but we're asking ourselves, is this what I should be doing? What if I'm getting it wrong? Fantastic. And one last question before I dive in. What one thing do you think will help you achieve the career you truly desire? What's the word for I'm not sure what's going on? Network. Okay, someone says networking. I'm not sure what's going on. Boldness, that's me. That was me, and can sometimes still be me. And someone else said, what's the word for I'm not sure what's going on? Which is you just feel lost, confused, uncertain, going with the flow. These are all fantastic questions, and I love your answers. And thank you so much for engaging with this. And what this tells us is this: it tells us that for a lot of us, we know deep down we have whatever it takes, but it's, am I doing the right thing? Am I clear what I'm doing? I'm afraid. what on earth is going on? These are all great questions. So from research, we have found that there are 3 things people struggle with in their careers. Number 1, no clear path forward in their career. There's no clear path forward. They're somewhere and they're stuck. You feel stuck because you're not sure if you should you stay or should you go? Should you stick or should you twist? You're not sure if you're doing the right thing. You're not sure what's going on around you. Who should you speak to? Do you have the right connection? A lot of people feel stuck. Number 2, a lot of us struggle to create a brand that stands out. Now, the reason why we struggle sometimes is possibly because you're not sure what's going on, a lack of courage, and some of the things we spoke about, which is self-doubt, being unscripted. Now that's you're going with the flow and that's positive, but the downside sometimes to that is, who am I? And also finally, a clear understanding of what it takes to have an outstanding and high earning career. Now, research has shown that people who are no more talented than you or me, who rise to the top, and while also being rewarded for their careers and their talent, follow these 3 steps. And I'm going to talk about 3 steps very soon. But there are things they do that we can learn from, that we can apply to ourselves, that can help us rocket our career, maximize our potential, and skyrocket to the top. And like I've always said, this is not a detailed session. You can follow me on LinkedIn, where I do my regular podcast, Intentional Career, or you can catch up with me later. And there are other ways I can help you. But this will give you a good place to start from. But before I go on, let me start a bit about myself. I started my career when I finished university. I didn't have a good degree. First disappointment. The first lesson I've learned in life, that sometimes things do not go the way you want. So I didn't have a good degree. And I had to stay back for another year to do my dissertation, which limits your ability to get the best degree possible, like a first class. That's out of it. Once you don't do well the first time around, your marks are capped, so you can't do that. So this is me onshore. So I had to stay to do my dissertation. And while I was doing this, I got a job with a call center, a contact center. And I thought my mates are already doing the top jobs in the world. My mates are working for the top consultancy firms. And here I am. I am working in a call center. But I stuck with it. It was a means of earning money to pay for my bills and to do the things I like doing. And while I was studying at the same time, because I was only doing my dissertation, I wasn't studying full time. So I did this. And then when I finished, what was I able to do? I was then able to go to the company I was working for and say, I finished my degree in software engineering. Can I get a job with you? And this is the first thing I learned. Out of your disappointments, you can actually rise. Out of the ashes, a phoenix can rise. So for a lot of you, where you're thinking the very place you are is not the place for you, it's a place of disappointment, like me, where I was working for a call center, not with the degree I wanted, because I was working in a call center. And I was working for a bank, a call center. Number 1, I knew the bank already. Number 2, I was already in the company. My foot was in the door. Number 3, I applied for a job. So because I applied for a job with my degree, I knew the company, I knew the culture. I was able to get a job as a project analyst within the company. And that job within the company as a project analyst, it got me a nice salary. It got me a car. I got a business card. Things that my mates couldn't have, I got. And that was the very first time I learned that, when things go wrong, don't automatically think that this is the end. And that's one of the first steps I thought. Because one of the things I could have done was I could have thought this is the end, this is not going well, but I thought positive. So number 1, when you're thinking about maximizing your career, is think positive. Now this happened, and then somewhere along the line, I started working for that company, but my team got made redundant. I was sacked. I was let go. And that was the first time I learned disappointment. And I had to learn that, because even though I got that job, I had not made a clear plan of who I wanted to be. I had not had a clear plan of my strengths, my weaknesses, the opportunities around me, the threats around me, things that could go wrong. I didn't have a clear idea of what was going around me. I just thought I have a good job, and I was going in, day out, thinking this is the best thing. But because I did not have a clear plan, I did not have a clear idea of where I wanted to get to, very quickly, it became obvious that the team around me was struggling. And because I wasn't aware, I thought I've made it. I hit the rock bottom because I got made sacked. I got made redundant. I was fired like everyone else in the team. And that was the first time I learned, to maximize your career, you have to have a clear idea of where you're going. you have to need to know what's going on around you. Because when you know what's going on around you, you can read the signals. You can know when things are not going well, and then you can plan accordingly. And after that, I moved to a telecoms company. I worked for them, but very quickly, things didn't go well there again. I made some mistakes that I'll talk about again, and I got made redundant again. I got sacked again. Second time I got sacked. And I started asking myself, why is this happening? Why am I always losing my job? Don't I know the thing to do? Then I finally got another job and I worked for another bank. And this time it started well, but all of a sudden things started going wrong again. And at this point, I didn't have a clear idea of what maximizing your career was like. I was just going in thinking, I've got a job. This is it. Go in there and shine. I work for a bank. I wear a 3-piece suit. I'm looking fresh. And then you realize again that you might be made redundant. And this time, because I just couldn't bear the pain of someone sacking me, I sacked myself. I handed in my notice and I said, I can't do this anymore. And I quit. And I went on a soul searching journey. I started a business. I started to do other things. And I started to reflect though, that why has this gone wrong? Why is this always happening? I started taking notes. I started learning from my mistakes. I started studying, writing it down, coming up with a plan to understand the things I was doing wrong. And once I did that, I was able to finally understand that there are a number of things anybody that needs to do to maximize their career needs to do. And I'm going to speak about that quickly. But learning from my mistakes, learning from getting fired 2 times, and the third time quitting myself before I was fired, gave me all the things I'm going to be sharing with you today that I hope can make a difference to you. Now, if you take these things with you, it will give you the tools at least at the very beginning to help you shape your own career, to help you make the right decisions, to do the right things that can give you a chance to rocket your career to the top. So that's my story. And and that's something I've learned. I've taken it to become an executive coach and a business consultant. And I've helped hundreds of people who have come my way. I've helped them get promotions. I've helped them reestablish their careers. And I help companies as well go through changes where they're struggling as well. And these are all the things I bring. And it's in doing that I thought, what's the one way I can share my lessons with people? And that's when I started one of my podcasts called the You Unleashed podcast, a podcast focused on helping you unleash your best talent and become the best you can be in your professional and personal life. I'm also the founder of the Unleashed Academy, an online academy membership where we sell online courses, and we also give you an online membership for a certain amount a month. You come in and you get loads of videos, loads of access to lots of our special guests, where every month we give you the content that works you through the journey to become the person who you want to be, to maximize your career. Because to maximize your career, the honest truth is that it's not a one-time thing. The one thing you need to learn about your career is that you need to manage your career. And if you're going to manage your career, that means you need to do it day in, day out. You need to be proactive. You need to make the right decisions. And that's what I do in that podcast. We speak about everything. We have amazing guests. So I would say, just go on all the major podcast platforms, Femi Akinyemi, the You Unleash podcast. Sign up and enjoy our content. It's a great content. Femi has been there too, and I encourage you to do it because it's all from my personal experience and personal learning. And it's from that one that we'll be launching our new podcast as well, called the Intentional Career Podcast. I've just finished recording a couple of episodes. I'm super excited about it. It's a lot shorter than this one. It's 15 minutes every week, a short bite-sized content you can listen to, spark your brain, fire you up, and get you ready for the week to come. So that's me, and that's my passion. That's what I like doing. I'll very quickly go into some house rules here. Feel free to ask questions using the chat box. If I cannot respond to them during the chat, I will take them at the end. And if you want to speak, raise your hand. Those of you familiar with Zoom, tap on the space bar twice and you should be good to go. So that's my story. So how do you accelerate your career? I'm going to share with you 3 of the things that you can do to get over whatever is holding you back and accelerate your career towards the top and give you the rewards you deserve, because you all deserve it. But the reality is that if you don't have the key to unlock your potential, if you don't have the key to do the right, if you don't have the blueprint, the map to do the things you need to do, you cannot become your best. Because the mistake a lot of us make is you do a good job wherever you are, but you think sitting in a corner and doing your best automatically means you maximize your career. That is only a tip of the iceberg. It's not just about doing your best in a corner. That is foundational, but there are other things you have to do to accelerate your career. Be good at what you do, but you have to follow these 3 other steps I'm going to talk about. And that increases your chances of getting the true worth that you deserve, of earning the money that you deserve. So I'm not going to waste time, and I'm going to go into them very quickly. I'll talk about it. Number 1 is you. You are the biggest reason why you're not maximizing your career, and you will be the biggest reason why you will maximize your career. You need to be intentional about your career. Number 1, you have to have a clear purpose. You have to have a clear idea, a sense of idea of who you are, why you're doing this, what you want to be, what you want to achieve. Because the moment you do that, there's so many other things that you're required to do. And in doing those other things you need to do, you start to become aware of the environment around you. You start to know that there are certain things you need to do. Number 2, your mindset. Everything is in the mind. You've heard the saying, as a man thinketh, so he is. That is it. If you think of yourself as a high flyer, if you think of yourself as an achiever, if you think of yourself as the best, you will dress like the best, you will think like the best, you will operate like the best. People will think of you as the best, they'll gravitate to you as the best, and you'll get rewarded as the best. And it's a 2 thing. It's not just you do your job well, you project yourself as the best. And that's something you need to do. It was a mistake I made. I was good at my job, but I struggled to articulate myself. I struggled to speak and say, I know what I'm about. I know who I am. And I know why I'm doing, and I know I'm one of the best. And number 3, skill set. You've got to have the skills. You've got to move from unconsciously incompetent to consciously competent. I don't know if you heard about it. There's 4 stages. Number 1 is when you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. Number 2, then you become consciously incompetent, which is, you know, you're not good enough. That's a very important stage. Because at that point, you start to go and look for the skills. Then you become consciously competent. At that point, you're doing the right thing and you're aware you're doing it. And then you get to the top of the game. Unconsciously competent. This is where you're just operating the flow. For those of you who know, you've seen people like Messi, Roger Federer, Lewis Hamilton, sportsmen and women, sportswomen, Serena Williams, they will come and they will say, I was just in the zone. That's when you get to that stage where you're so in control of your career and your skills that you're just in the zone. You just do it. I like to talk about my wife when she's working sometimes. She's just in the zone, and you can see her. She's a whiz with her spreadsheet. She's an accountant, and she's just doing these things, and she's just in the zone. When I speak to her, she doesn't hear me because she's in the zone, and she's just working with numbers, and she's in the zone because she has become unconsciously competent, and that's where you need to get to. So I'll speak to that a bit. Then we speak about others as well. When we speak about others, how you relate to others is very important. You see, you cannot become the best you can be. You cannot have the maximum career without working with other people. Other people will lift you up to get to the top of the mountain. And the question is, are you going to be someone light? Or are you going to be someone heavy? If you're heavy, that means you're not friendly, you're not helpful, you don't engage with people, you're not a good conversationalist, you don't help other people, you're not encouraging to other people. And when you're like that, will other people help you up? No, because you're too heavy. Number 2 is expectations. How good are you at managing expectations? When Femi invited me to this Zoom call, one of the things we had to speak about was, what do you want from me? What time do you want it from me? How well do you want me to do it? And I had to ask him as well, who are the guests that are attending? How old are they? Where are they based? What are the things? And that allowed 2 of us to understand what was expected of me. You see, for a lot of us at work or with our clients, a client will tell you, I need to prepare a business forecast for me. You won't ask if it's a 10-year forecast or a 5-year forecast. You won't ask the date you need it done. You won't ask the date they need it delivered. You won't ask the quality. You won't ask who should receive it. You won't ask who are the major people that are going to read it. You just go and do the work. And what happens? Confusion. And then number 3, conflict. There will always be conflict in the workplace. The question is, do you know how to manage conflict? Are you non-confrontational, or are you okay managing conflict, having a sit down and working your way around things? That's another thing that determines if you can maximize your career. And finally, the workplace. Every company has a culture. Do you know what the culture of your workplace is? Do you know if you fit in? Do you know what you need to do to fit in? There's a business strategy as well. Every company has a business strategy. They have a plan. Do you know what the business strategy of your company is? Do you know the direction it's going? Do you know how you fit in? Or do you wait for them to tell you when it's time to do it? And by then, guess what? Stuff is being done to you. You're either being fired, or you're being downsized, or you're being given a job you don't want, or the company is moving into a different industry, or stuff you don't know. And finally, do you know where the power structure lies? Within every organization, there is a power structure. Within every organization, there is the people who can make or break your career. There are people who are influencers. Do you know them? Do they know your name? Do they know your strengths? Do they know what you're capable of? When a next job is available, or a next business a contract needs to be given out, does your name come to their mind, or have they never heard of you? These are the things I'll be speaking about. So let's dive in because of time. You should be bold as a cat. You can see this picture I have here. And that's what I expect of you. You have to walk with your chest high. One of the things you have to remember is that as you project yourself, as you carry yourself, as you dress yourself, that is the vibe you give out. That is the way people see you. That is the reception. That is the feeling they get from you. If you walk with your head held low, you don't inspire confidence. If you walk head held high, you inspire confidence. So let me ask this question. Chat box, everyone. On a scale of 1 to 10, how competent are you at your job? 1 means not very competent. 10 means very competent. Eight, very good. 8 is pretty good. 9. Okay. I won't dwell too much on that, but that's very good. 8 and 9. So we have some very, very competent people here. But here's another question I have for you, though. How do you know you're an 8 or a 9? Because there's a number of ways you can do this. Number 1, you can tell yourself you're an 8 or a 9, which is very good. But you can find out what a 10 is in the industry. Go out there and find out who is the best in the game, who is the best that is doing it. Because here's the thing. One of the easiest ways to know if you can be replaced in your job is 3 main rules. Number 1, can anyone do your job cheaper than you? Number 2, how difficult is the job you do? Number 3, how easy is it to replace you? If any of those questions, if anyone out there can do your job cheaper than you, you're at risk. If anyone can replace you, if you can be replaced quite easily, you're at risk. And number 3, if the job you do is not very important to the organization, you can be replaced. These are 3 things you always need to take in your head. Always think about this. And this has a lot to do with your skill set. The more you make you hone your skills and make sure your skills are at the top of the game. And there are a number of ways you can do this. Go into the marketplace. Go and look at what the highest earners in your field are earning, and look at what their track record, what they've done, what they've achieved, and their background, their experience. That starts to give you an idea of where you need to be at the best. But do that, and that will very quickly help you. Because the better you are at your job, the less likely it is that they'll be able to replace you that easily. Secondly, they'll know that they may get someone cheaper, but it's never going to do it to the same level as you. And because you do your job so well, it becomes critical to the organization, and they can't afford to let you go. That's some of the things you need to think about. And then once you've done that, as they say, practice makes perfect. The more you hone your skills, the more you sharpen your saw, the more you get confident in yourself. There is a reason when you're watching a football match, when a free kick needs to be played, and you see Lionel Messi step up, and he plays the free kick, and he goes into the corner. Everyone else is around there. There are other people in the team, but they look at him and say, "You play the free kick. You play the penalty. You take the shot," because we know you have the confidence, and we know you have the confidence because you put the work in, married to your talent. Or is it Serena Williams? There's a reason why when she's about to serve match point, she looks, there's a focus in her eyes, and it's an absolute confidence knowing I can do this. And she serves it down the line and she does it. Numerous people like that. If it's Steve Jobs, when he was alive, he was presenting something and he did it with utmost confidence. It's because they've honed their skills. And that is one of the things you need to do to maximize your value. First things first, get the foundation of the house right. If the foundation is not right, everything else falls. Hone your skills, develop your talent, consistently find out who is the best in your industry, who is the best in your game. They are the best you are measuring yourselves against because they are the highest paid, and you should try to make them your benchmark and try to be like them. Whatever it is you do, find out who the best is and look at them and say, I have a target. You are the person I'm after. I want what you have. At least the respect and the finance and the ability. I want what you have. That's what you do. If I ask any of you, who is the don in your industry? Who is the mover in your industry? If you can't tell me, then you don't have an idea what that person has put in and what the best is. And that means you're working in a vacuum. And there's nothing worse than practicing or getting good at what doesn't need to be done. So you need to do that. That's number one. So once you have that skill set by knowing who it is and developing yourself, going on courses, finding mentors, finding coaches, all of that stuff helps you become the best you can be. And once you do that, it gives you the confidence. Number two, others. So one of the things you need to learn is you cannot become the best you can be without working through others. And so you need to be effective at influencing. And to become an effective influencer, it helps you achieve more of what you need in both your professional and personal life. Influencing people, getting them to buy into you, buy into your ideas, buy into your suggestions. Because you're better at influencing, you can do so with less time, less effort, and less stress. The best people who are best influencers have a way of reaching out to people and getting stuff done very quickly. Number three, your personal credibility goes up. If you're a good influencer, you have credibility. And finally, you're just nicer to deal with. Remember what I said at the beginning? To get to the top of the mountain, you need someone to help you up. And whether they help you up depends on how light you are. If you want to help someone up, everyone has watched the movie where someone is hanging by the cliff and someone tries to hold the person on the cliff, hold their hand to stop them from falling. If the person is really light, they pull them up. But for someone really heavy, they hold, and the person drops. And that's the question for you. Are you light? Can you be lifted up easy? Because if you're light, that means you're personable, you're kind, you help others, you encourage others, you smile, you're engaging, you connect to people, you're a good conversationalist. It's not all about you. If you can do these things, you are a lighter person to lift up. And when you're lighter, they will lift you up. And that's what being nicer to deal with is. And that's what it is. I've given you a very picture here about influencing. And it's really, there are two styles of influencing. You can either push someone to do what you want them to do, or you can pull them towards you. If you want to push someone towards you, you want to get them to do what you want, you need to be open. You need to be active. Be someone who is open and engaging with other people. I know it doesn't sound like rocket science, but the best people at what they do are also amazing influencers. When they listen, you see Oprah Winfrey, when she's talking to people, she listens. She has her hands open. She asks open questions. She listens. That's one of the things you should do. Be better at listening to people, because when you listen, you find out what's going on around you. People know you're someone who listens a lot and they come to you. Number two, give positive support to others. The more supportive you are of others, the more people want to support you. John Maxwell has this amazing saying. He says, help others get what they want, so they will help you get what you want. Another way to say it is, first, seek to understand before you seek to be understood. Make sure you listen to other people before you want them to listen to you, and help them achieve what they want. If it's your manager in the workplace, if it's your client, if it's your colleagues, help them solve their own problems. And when it's time to solve your own problems, they will solve it for you. They'll go the extra mile. Next, find commonality. Look for people within your organization who have the same view, same mindset, same goals as you, and attach yourself to them. The number of people who want to achieve something in their careers and they don't look for someone above them who's trying to achieve something similar and help that person so that that person can say, oh, you're good and I need someone in my team. I'll bring you along. But because you don't seek to help others, we're so caught up in our own world, we don't realize that what's happening is that we're missing out. And finally, look to have a personal impact. Impact other people. Whenever you're in a meeting, speak with confidence, speak with clarity, speak with confidence. And if you want to get people to do stuff for you, also give feedback. Always give feedback in a good way. Propose ideas. And also make sure that when you want someone to do something, you tell them the reason why you want them to do it. That's one of the things you should do. That helps you influence. But also, I want to talk about expectations. You see, one of the things I've not spoken about is expectations. And one of the things you should always do is whenever anybody asks you to do something, whether it's your client, whether it's your manager, whether it's someone below you, if it's your friend, if it's your colleague, always make sure you clarify what exactly is being asked. I've been there myself. Once upon a time, I was given a piece of work. I went away as an analyst and I just thought I was doing the right job. I felt I did it so well and I delivered it. And my manager said, Femi, this is the right thing. You've done an amazing job. If this is exactly what I asked for. I asked for a 10-year forecast. I asked that you should make sure it's reviewed by other people. I asked to make sure one or two other things should happen, and I asked for it next week. Now, because I didn't manage these expectations, I didn't understand, when do you want it? How well do you want it done? When is it due? Who should I work with? Who needs to review it? What does good look like? What do you need to see to know that this work has been done perfectly? I didn't ask all these questions. They seem obvious, but I didn't ask. I thought I know what to do and I went to do it. But guess what? I'm not a mind reader. You are not a mind reader. So the fact that you're not a mind reader means you cannot do these things. So you need to always check. And the way I recommend is send an email. Send an email to say, hi, Femi. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on a guest speaker on your webinar. Can you tell me the topic you want me to speak about? Tell me what you think I need to do to make it a satisfying session. What date is it? What time is it? How are we going to be engaging? Is it by Zoom? Do you want me to be on camera? Do you want a slide pack? Ask all of these things. And that means that when you now deliver what they want, because you both agreed, it's like a contract. Because you both agreed on what was being delivered, they are happy with what I give them. I know they'll be happy. And even if they're not happy, I can say, but this is what we agreed on. And because they know that we've agreed, it means you're likely to get it right first time. And when you get it right first time, you're seen as someone that delivers. And again, next time when the job is needed, they come to you. And what is that doing? It's maximizing your ability. It's maximizing your ability to get paid. It's maximizing your reputation as someone that delivers. And finally, conflict. I don't want to speak too much about conflict, but when it comes to conflict, one of the things you should always be able to do is take a deep breath, but don't be afraid of conflict. We are all human in the workplace or in our careers. It happens. You can't have two people working together and there won't sometimes be conflict. But if you manage expectations better and you learn how to influence, less conflict will happen. But when conflict happens, it's about calmly explaining your view, why you did what you did, explain it so they can understand, and they too will do the same. And then you work to find a common solution, the best way forward. And finally, I want to speak about work. We've spoken about you yourself, your mindset, your skill set, a clarity of purpose. We've spoken about working with others, being able to influence. We've spoken about being able to manage expectations. And we've spoken about managing conflict. And now I want to speak about work. You see, you can be good at what you do. You can be good at working with people, but if you don't understand the culture of the company, it doesn't make a difference. Some cultures are very conservative. Some cultures are relaxed. Some cultures like attention to detail. Some cultures don't. I remember working in a bank, and when it was 5 o'clock, nobody left. it was my first day. I got up and I went home, and everyone looked at me like, "You're not going home, are you?" And in that bank, you had to be seen, even if you were not, you had to be seen to look as if you were working and you're doing the most, you were doing extra. I didn't know that. And very quickly, straight away, my manager called me the next day and said, "It looks like you're not pulling your weight." And that's because I was coming from another company where they always encourage you by 5 o'clock, go home. Go home. I had to learn that. And that's what I did. So, and that's not, and another example is another company where everything works on personal relationships. You can write all the emails you want, but you still got to find a way to go to that person's desk and communicate and relate to them. Learn the culture of the company you are in. The better you understand the culture, the more you understand how to get things done, how to work with other people, how to influence people. You know where the power lies. Because that brings me to the next point. Where is the power in the organization? If I ask you today, do you know the one person who can help take your career to the next level in your organization or in your business? And do you have a relationship with that person? And have you done anything to influence or help that person? What would your answer be? That's what you need to be good at. You need to learn where the power lies. Who is the person? And it's not always the person who screams the loudest. It's not always the person who makes the most noise. It's normally the person who has the most at stake. The person who is the most influential is the person. Find a way to build a relationship with that person. It's as simple as find out when they go to the canteen or which restaurant, or if you're in the workplace, find out what canteen they go to. And just find a way to say hello. Or if you're at a conference, find a way to walk by them and say, "Hi, I enjoy what you did," or what you said. They start to take notice of you, compliment them, and ask. And always tell, these people are always happy to share their wisdom and their thoughts. Can we catch up? Can we have a meeting? I want to learn more from you. They know you, they support you, and when it's time to make a next step in your career, they become your sponsor. They lift you up. And finally, do you know what the business strategy of where you work or your industry is? If you know where your industry is going, you can shape your skills. You can develop yourself to make sure when your industry takes off to the next level, you have the skills and you're in high demand. Or is your company where you work, do you know what their 5-year plan is? Do you know what they're planning to do? Do you know the skills they need? Do you know what's going to happen to your department? Most of the time, the things that happen in your business area or your business don't happen overnight. There are signs that these things are going on. And your job is to study your company, study your industry, find out what's happening, tap into it, be prepared, skill yourself up, know the right people. And when you do all of these things at the right time, you will be ready to fall in and take advantage because they'll know you're ready. Some very quick things I want to share. Number one, when you hear the word politics, a lot of us, office politics or business politics, we all think it's bad. Politics just means working with people. It's not all about backstabbing, malicious rumors, and sucking up. Because if you think that's all it's about, stay far away. But whether you like it or not, office politics is a fact of life. People talk together and people work with people they know and people they like. So it is possible to promote yourself and big up yourself and celebrate yourself without compromising your values or seem to be sucking up. So learn how to promote yourself without necessarily sucking up. Be proud of what you've done. Celebrate yourself. Sucking up is saying, "Hi, Gary. Hi, Ade. Hi, Olu. Hi, Nike. Hi, Kemi. Oh, I did this. I did this." No, it's more about saying, "I was responsible for this. I did this." And it's not about, "Hey, look at me." But it's also about practicing good politics, because this enables you to further your own and your team's interests fairly and appropriately. And it means that you're alert to bad politics around you. So good politics means celebrating others, promoting others, championing others, supporting others. And by that, you're building goodwill. And when it's time to cash that check, to call in your favor, to ask for that promotion, to ask for that job, you'll be there to get it. And lastly, once you've done all this and you see what you want, you see a position you want to take the next step, ask. Knock and the door shall be open. Ask and it shall be given. Ask whoever is in charge that you built a relationship and say, when you are looking to develop this role, when you're looking to take the next level for someone in this role, I'm here. I throw my hat to the ring. Look at me, consider me. Do I have what it takes? And if they say you don't, find out what it is and deliver it. That's it. Do those things at a foundational level, because that's enough homework for you. do those things and you're already on a good way to developing those skills and becoming and maximizing your career. There's so much I can talk about, but we have to squeeze this in, and I can't give everything I've learned in that much time, but I do want to leave some time for questions because like I told because I want to give time for questions, but I also want to just encourage you, follow my podcast, the Intentional Career Podcast with Femi Akinyemi, should be launching next week. But also check out my podcast, The You Unleashed with Femi Akinyemi. It's focused on helping you unleash your best and your talent. And feel free to reach out to me on femi@unleashed-academy.com. Reach out to me or social media, anywhere. Follow me on social media, LinkedIn, on Instagram, Femi Akinyemi. And I'm always happy to chat, and I'm always putting out content that can make a difference and can impact. So with that said, thank you so much, Femi, for having me. And I think this is a good time to take some questions if there are any.
Okay. Thank you so much, Femi, for coming. So this is a good time to take questions. I was just like literally trying to type up a question, but I'm going to go ahead and ask. And there's a lot of emphasis on trying to get people to know that you did this work, just letting your work be seen. There are some people that, and this is me specifically, I would rather just do the work and people appreciate the work and I move on my life, and I'm just at the back knowing that I've done the work, I've done a great work and move on. But I've also realized that there's a place whereby people don't necessarily, it's easier for people to just take credit. Like, so let's say you're in a team of 5 now, and you did half of the work or maybe even 90% of the work, and the work is really great and you're just fine with the work coming to life. How do you take ownership of that work that you've done without seeming like you're trying to be proud or just going against your own natural nature? That's the question I wanted to ask.
So there are a number of ways you can do this. A very simple one I would give you very quickly is you can send an email. Feel free to send an email and say, it's been a pleasure working on this project. I would just like some feedback from you. And if you've liked the work I've done, please could you share some feedback? Could you just give some positive feedback just so I could keep that? If you do that, because if you're not someone that is forward and likes speaking sometimes, feel free to send an email to ask for a testimonial or recommendation to say, what do you think of my work? Do you appreciate it? Please, can you do that? And by doing that, by them typing it and writing it up, what you don't realize is that already it's embedding in their mind it causes them to reflect on the work you've done, to celebrate the work you've done, and it's embedding in their mind as well. But as well, when you introduce yourself to people, because you've got this feedback, you know you're confident and you know what you've done. So when you introduce yourself to someone, they'll say, "Oh, hi, I'm Femi, and I'm a social media consultant, and and in fact, matter of fact, I've just finished developing a social media platform that hit 10, 20, 30,000 followers for a major multinational company. So it's something I do and something I'm passionate about." Say that. But one of the things you have to do is to be honest, it's imposter syndrome. A lot of us sometimes we don't like to embrace the fact that we are good. We don't like to embrace the fact that we are excellent. And sometimes it sounds funny to say, but some of us are more afraid of success than we are of failure. Because success means sometimes you're out there and more is demanded of you. And some of us don't want that spotlight. We need to be out there. But like Maya Angelou says, who are you to not want to shine? There's a difference between confidence. I was speaking to my brother a few days ago, and he said, you have to be north of self-confidence and south of arrogance. You have to find that place where you're just a bit self-confident, but you're humble. And that's the best, is to be humble, but confident, quietly confident. But don't be afraid to say, I did this, because you did it. But there's a difference between saying, everyone look at me, and saying it just because you want people. There's a difference between doing that because you want people to just look at you and champion you. And there's a difference between that and just making it known that this is what I do. This is what I'm good at. And the more you ask for feedback, the more people reinforce it. Because when they tell you, Ife, what you're doing, I really like it. It's Femi, what you're doing is really good. It's really good. The more you hear that, the more it builds your confidence and the more you can own it.